right, our next segment is the Michigan Minute or so. Cousin Kyle, there's been a lot going on because Michigan is awesome at all athletics. So talk to us about what's been going on in the world of Michigan sports.
Well, in typical Michigan fashion, a lot of highs followed by some lows. So the baseball team went on a tear. I can't remember. I think the last time we recorded, it was coming up on the Big Ten tournament. And so Michigan is the first team in the Big Ten tournament where they beat, I think at least the top 3 seeds.
The top 4?
Top 4 seeds, yeah, top 4 seeds. The championship bout with the Rutger took place.
Poor Rutger.
And Michigan won it all. And that was a very good Rutgers team. As a side note, Rutgers had like a great record and they got left out of the NCAA tournament, which is, I think, atrocious and there's a theme here, unfortunately, we're going to talk about, which is this sort of northern bias, right? Or a bias towards Southern teams. Yeah. So Rutgers did not get the kind of credit it should have gotten, and they got left out of the tournament. So Michigan won that Big Ten tournament. They went down to the Louisville region where they played, or it was Oregon southeast or southwest Missouri State.
Yeah, but isn't it now Missouri State?
I can't remember. I thought they were still using the directional term.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
Perhaps either way, a Missouri directional
right,
school.
or a Missouri directional school, and then Louisville. So they beat Oregon in a relatively close game. It was like 8-6, if I remember right, 9-7, something like that. Then they come out and they beat Louisville. And so Louisville has to play Oregon. They win. And then they play, and the first game they played was like 20-1 Louisville, right? Because I think
it was literally 20 to 1.
So Michigan's pitching was all season. Their pitching was like their weakest part of their team. They had the highest ERA in the Big Ten, but May and then into June really came on. Pitchers were doing really, really well. I think their pitching was just exhausted, and Eric Backage was just like, okay, we're gonna take this L. Maybe something will come out of it, but 20-1, not great. So Michigan is winning, going into the bottom of the 8th inning. Or no, they were still up. They're still up, and 2 outs.
Yeah, we're up by 2.
They're up by 2.
Yep.
2 outs. Louisville hitter hits a double. He hits a single. He's trying to turn it into a double. Throw in to second base. I think pretty clearly. Obviously, we're Michigan fans. Clearly.
I was traveling, dropping kids off, and in between giving Cousin Kyle updates as I was watching, listening on my phone.
Because it was on ESPN Plus.
Yes, which is so dumb. It got moved because of some other thing and the weather delays and all this stuff. So I'm telling you, the announcers are saying that this guy is out, that on the review, this guy is clearly out. There's no way that this is not overturned. It is so clear, unbiased, not just my biased opinion.
Right.
This guy's out.
Yeah. And of course, he's called safe by a second base umpire.
And where was this game played too?
It was played at Louisville. The second base umpire is a graduate of Louisville.
No. Yeah.
I know. Shocked, right? This is kind of like the John O'Neill crew in 2016.
And a donor to the school.
Right.
On top of that.
Sure. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
Well, because, if it could screw over Michigan Ohio State game, why not baseball? So then they do the little review, which again, reviews. As an aside, I'm really fed up with reviews. I don't think they work.
It's a lot.
It clearly does not do what it's intended to do, because there's so many instances of clearly called plays that are wrong that don't end up getting over.
It seemed like they were like, here's 5 camera angles.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, we're on ESPN Plus. Here's 2 camera angles where you can watch this. And one of them, he looked safe. One of them, he was clearly out. So it's not,
it's not conclusive.
It's not conclusive enough.
Sure. For the Louisville Grand.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah. So then right after that, Michigan gives up 2 runs, and then they give up another 2 runs. And then that's pretty much the game.
It's college athletics. Your spirit gets broken. Momentum's a thing in college sports. I don't care what anybody says. The Big Mo exists.
So it was heartbreaking, crushing, but also just a great outing for the baseball team. Like, even with all that being said, they should have gone to the Super Regional, but with all that being said, still a great season. So what do we follow that up with? We follow that up with Clemson University offering Eric Bakich $1 million to come coach at Clemson. To give you some context, I think only 2 other schools do this. Vanderbilt being one, who is like sort of the premier school for college baseball. Vanderbilt. So obviously Michigan they can compete with that from a monetary perspective, but they can't compete with that from a NCAA season perspective.
Well, and Jim Harbaugh just can't pay everyone's salary all the time. And he has even Juwan Howard's, which was fascinating.
I was like, I don't think Juwan needs
I think Juwan's good, but
good.
Principally, Jim said, I'm paying for the coaches.
That's right.
He paid for the coaches, but he can't continue to pay for the coaches.
Not like that. Well, what we need to do is just send stark raving mad Jim into the NCAA's office and talk about baseball and the season. Because when this season begins in like the end of February, no Northern school can, like, every Northern school has to be down in like Texas and Louisiana, Florida, like playing tournaments that are so far away from, going back to Michigan, Louisville, like they played already in I think the very beginning of the season. And there's this hilarious, wonderful, but also stupid shot of just driving snow during this baseball game, right? So Northern teams, I don't think they can compete if the season ends in June. When we're thinking about baseball, like baseball should be played in June and July and August.
Or, you know what? Send those boys up here to play us in February and March. Yeah. And we'll show them what's up.
That's right.
And
either way.
And then we can have the winter champions, the Kings of the North.
Kings of the North.
And then the Kings of the South into a super championship season baseball finale.
Yeah. I think that'd be great.
Well, and Cousin Kyle, to your point real quick, Zach Shaw, who writes for 24/7 Sports, tweeted this out last
night.
Great guy. On the heels of everything. Great guy. Yeah.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show, absolutely. Drink ribs of you. Zach Shaw, he said, this also highlights how Southern-based college baseball is. Clemson had more than 5 times the attendance that Michigan did this year. Suppose each fan paid an average of $10. The Tigers had $1.15 million more in revenue to spend. It's like an MLB team competing with the AA team financially. And that's what the Big Ten is. That's what Michigan's dealing with.
But I think if you push those games back to June and July, we'd go to that. I'd take the kids up to Lafayette and watch the Michigan-Purdue game.
Sure.
Or you're on vacation up in Lake Michigan, as one does in the Midwest.
But March 29th, when it's 45 degrees and raining, I ain't going to a college baseball game.
No, I don't even want to go to a Reds game when it's April 2nd and there's like sleet. Yeah. So that's again that's disappointing. So and then I'll just say a quick thing about basketball. I know Nate's going to get into that a little bit more as well. Isaiah Barnes went on the official Michigan basketball podcast the other day and just talked a lot about how much he's learned this year. He said basically sitting on the bench, being redshirted all year, it's like you get to watch game film just constantly because you're just, you're sitting there, that's it. And that's a great mentality for a kid to have. I know I'm not going to get to play this year, but I'm going to take every opportunity, even in this game, right? I know I'm not getting in, but I'm going to watch it intently and figure out how do these plays get called? What are the motions that I need to be doing? What's, switching on defense, all these things. I know that athletically he's been, in Camp Sanderson, and hopefully is going to come out and just be that sort of slashing, shooting, defending wing we desperately need him to be.
Yep.
So
it's good.
Excited for that.
It's good. Exciting. I think, continuing on, our beloved Aiden Hutchinson, although
Packers fan over here,
although going to the Detroit Lions, I have to see him try and chase Aaron Rodgers around, and just, the weight of Detroit on his shoulders, right? We've seen this time and time again. It never works out, even for the greats like Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson and Aiden Hutchinson. So Aiden, play your 3 or 4 years, get out of there. And, but what I appreciate about old Aiden is he is pride and joy of Michigan. You know, we love Aiden. As well as the others that have been drafted this year or were picked up, undrafted free agents. But he's living with mom and dad.
Yeah.
Now, his mom and dad's house is probably pretty nice. You know, his dad played a little football.
He's a doctor too, right?
He's a doctor as well. So it's probably a nice home. But hey, he's just, you know, disciplined, staying at home. You know, getting his good, you know, bedtime schedule and
invest that rookie contract in mutual funds.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Or real estate.
Right. Or real estate.
Just not crypto.
You know, just
not crypto.
So
Not great right now.
although if Coinbase or any of these places or whoever Bitcoins, if you would like to talk to us about you know, some sponsorships, we'd be up for
That's
it.
fair.
You may have to convince us.
Sure. We're also going to introduce a 6-minute pod NFT.
NFTs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some pretty exclusive
Of a Zevia camp.
of a ZDA
Yeah.
and the pod microphone.
So with all of that, love Aiden. All the best to Aiden, except when he plays Green Bay. Then I hope he has a nice game, but not a great game. But there's talk about Mike Morris becoming the next Aiden or Ojabo type pass rusher. So I'm very excited
From your lips to God's ear,
to
right?
see the boys and what's going to be happening at the University of Michigan on the defensive side of the ball, right? Mozzie Smith, we're seeing the development of Junior Colson, and then our secondary. What's that going to look like? What's Sanderstill's role going to look like? Can he really play on both sides of the ball? Is he going to still have a role in special teams? Going to be interesting. I think Michigan has, for being a fairly conservative offense historically, we tend to find these guys that can unleash and play multiple, like Charles Woodson and Jabril Peppers. And now that's a class up here. And Sandra still feels like not even a freshman A-team version of like a Jabril, but
Discount.
but we'll see it. He's shown some flashes. He showed some good coverage even that spring game. I think our offense we're very excited about. Everyone's still all right. Can JJ throw a ball? Is this going to hurt him? Is this going to ail him moving forward? Did that set him back? What does this mean? But man, I'm excited about our offense, which I have not really believed in a long time. I would say like that I'm actually excited about this offense. But I'm curious, the question marks on defense, who's going to step up, and we'll see what happens. But I am starting to get hyped. What game are you guys? I mean, besides the game, what game are you guys looking? And let's be honest, sometimes we're not looking forward to that game. But I am looking forward to that game this year. Obviously, what's another game that you're like, yeah, this is gonna be a fun one.
I mean, I have to say, on the heels of last year and on the heels of what I heard yesterday, which is the preseason rankings right now, as they sit, Michigan State just got voted as a higher ranking than Michigan.
Good.
And on the heels of last year, I think that's only going to be a positive movement for the boys in maize and blue. So I'm looking forward to the in-state rivalry. That game.
I want that. Don't put Michigan top 5. Don't put them in top 10. I want everyone to say last year was a fluke so that they can have that hunger. I feel like every year that we get real excited about Michigan, they just, it's just this like deflating. Back in 2017, right? Remember, like, oh yeah, we're gonna be great. 2016 was we're gonna be even better. No. 2019, So, and that's just recent memory. That's not even going back to 2007 or 1998. But
well, it's vintage Michigan to just choose the negative road for a lot of people.
Sure.
As you said earlier, of course. Left, you were expecting it, right?
Right.
So we have a history,
but I think
a recent history of expecting bad things. But you're right. I had no expectations, and I don't think anybody.
No expectations.
There was 2% chance going into the season that we were going to be Big Ten champs. We were. So yeah, let's keep that drive mentality going. That we just have low expectations.
Rank Michigan State higher.
Overcome.
Talk them up.
Yeah.
I'm excited about the Iowa game in Iowa.
Excited is a strong word.
Because it's our first, I think, real test of the season.
It is.
And it's on the road. And
is that our first road game, right?
That is our first. Yeah, it is our first road game. And they, after the beatdown we put on them in the Big Ten championship game that Nate and I were there for.
Not a lot of people know that Michigan beat them 42-3 last year.
It was, just in case you forgot.
Just in case that was.
And
In the second half of the Michigan-Ohio State game, Michigan never had a third down.
in case,
Not a lot of people don't
in
know.
case you forgot.
That's a big.
And
game.
so I think that's going to be a nice test for the
Yeah.
young lads
Oh,
and
yeah.
to see what we're made of. So I am looking forward to, obviously, playing in Iowa is always kind of nervy.
Hoping that's a big noon Saturday.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love a big noon. We
No
don't
one-
have a game time on there right now,
Yeah.
but I'm hoping it's not a night game.
Yeah,
no one
not
wants
a
to play
night-
nighttime. in
Nobody
Iowa City.
wants to
No.
play night.
And that's all respect to Iowa fans.
Yep.
That's a
Yep.
that's a
Good
tough-
people,
Good people.
great people. When
Yeah,
we
the
met
fans are
them
great.
before and after the game, they're like, "Yeah, you guys were a lot better than us. Here's some corn."
Yeah.
You know, like it was,
Yeah.
it was quite
They're
nice.
not Ohio State or Penn State fans.
They
is
are.
what you're
They
saying.
are most certainly
No.
not.
Okay,
They're
good.
most
Not even
certainly-
Wisconsin. So
No.
Yeah, I
Nate,
think, so Michigan State, obviously, Iowa, Penn State,
which is at home.
at home, and
Right.
Nebraska are both games that can be tricky. I think, Penn State, we kind of do this back and forth, right? We blow them out at home, they blow us out at home. Last year, obviously, we escaped Happy Valley with a win, so hopefully we can keep that going. James Franklin continues to be he's kind of like to sort of mix analogies here. I wonder if he's sort of a John Calipari type guy, right? Where he's like obviously an amazing recruiter. Like Penn State has great recruiting classes every year. I just don't think he's that good of a coach.
Well, and the fact that that's at home is a big
Yeah.
deal. But the truth is, we have only 4 road games,
Yeah.
and so I feel like the road test at Iowa is the only thing that really gets us ready for November
Ohio State,
26th,
yeah.
right? Obviously, Michigan's going to be a tough game,
Yeah.
but it's at home. But in terms of getting us ready for the hostile type environment, IU fans, sorry, it's not hostile there. I've been there. Rutgers, not hostile at all.
Although I think Rutgers is weird. Greg Schiano has
Weird things happen there, but it's not like a rowdy.
Right.
environment.
No,
It's
yeah.
not like the fans are going to
Correct.
take over the
No.
game like they could in Iowa
Oh,
or
yeah.
in Happy Valley or
Correct.
something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
But I also think Nebraska, Nebraska was just the most unlucky team. I think maybe, certainly last year. Like if you look at their statistics, Michigan State and Nebraska are the same team. Like I think even points for and against, they're pretty close. I think it was dead even for Nebraska, but they went 3-9.
Yeah.
And then how many close losses did they have? So
there's some luck involved.
I am a little afraid that luck will inevitably change, and that Nebraska, if they can keep some games close, especially against Michigan, that they could escape with a win. So I think it's easy to overlook a team that went 3-9 and be like, oh, they suck. But I think Nebraska is actually better than what that record showed. It's easy to make fun of them. It's easy to make fun of Scott Frost. I still think that
It was easy.
yeah.
Low hanging fruit.
I'm still worried, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's like making fun of each sitting president. It's kind of low hanging fruit for every comedian. It's like there's a lot of material here.
right.
Scott Frost offers that same thing. To that end,
Hey,
I will disagree with you on the comparison of James Franklin to. I think it's giving him too much credit with Calipari. I would say he's more of a Ron Zucker, Ron Zucker vibe. Never gonna get
To
there.
clarify, his name is Ron Zook.
Yeah.
But some people call
Yeah.
him the Zooker.
The Zucker.
Zucker. Yeah, likability with players, but not great on the field. Anyway, yeah, I'll share briefly from my end.
I
of
think he's a
things.
rich man's Ron Zook. How about we say that? I think Ron Zook is a poor man's James Franklin.
Yeah, I
think he's a little bit better than Ron Zook.
Although James Franklin is a wealthy man.
he's got $9 million
He's a wealthy,
His
he's a
agent.
well-paid coach.
Yeah.
for winning 7 games last year.
Well, Nate, and he followed that up. They were 3-5 or whatever during the COVID year, which obviously doesn't count.
They were about as bad as Michigan that COVID year,
Yeah, it's like
Which doesn't count.
which doesn't count.
It wasn't real. It wasn't a real season. 2020 never happened.
yeah, there's just a lot of denial there from the fan base, I think, with where they are. And I get it. We were there with Hoke. I think we were like, no, I think there's a lot of good there.
He's a great guy.
He won 12.
He's a Michigan man.
We won the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
Against Virginia Tech.
We beat Ohio State. Ron Zook.
like an
Ron Zook is what I just
like
said.
an 8-win
Yeah.
Virginia
yeah,
Tech.
it was
James Franklin's beaten Ohio State once.
yeah, one time. Yeah. What a time. There's a lot with Michigan. Obviously, I think what's fun is a lot of the sports were on watchable platforms for Michigan this year, which means they were successful in a lot of different sports. I think that's tremendous. The fact that there was an opportunity for my daughter to watch the gymnastics team compete, the softball team compete, the basketball team made the Sweet 16 for the first time in their history. It was a great year. And I know, like, I saw someone tweet out, like, Michigan is just clinging to an everything school right now, but it really is. This past year was an everything school, and it's a great thing. So anyway, shout out to the athletic department. Really cool stuff. Shout out.
Women's team went to the Elite Eight for the first time.
Oh, Elite Eight. Sorry. We beat, who was it? Northern Iowa? Was that the team?
Yeah.
It was kind of a directional, anyway.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Because they had beaten Baylor, right?
Right. Elite Eight, we lost Louisville, which, man, Louisville is just really turning into quite the destination. First of all, their stadium's called KFC Yum Center. So are they really a college?
And Papa John.
Bring back the Twister, and we can talk about it being called the Yum Center again, right? Bring back the Twister.
First of all, any adult that says yum.
Also,
I'm gonna have a
not really a
conversation
Twister
with that.
fan, but my wife certainly is.
Are you talking about
The 6-minute drill
It's like
is
the
brought to you
news.
by Zevia.
Twister? Oh my gosh. Okay, let me get to this. All right, a few things. First of all, high hopes. I think Michigan will have athletes next year. That's never been the issue. I think Camp Sanderson is going to do Camp Sanderson things. The players are going to bulk up. The transformation, if you want proof, just look up Franz Wagner freshman year to sophomore year.
Franz.
So much of that happened. Obviously, some of that's just freak show genetics that he has, but also it's truly remarkable what the players get stronger in their year two. The thing that has to happen developmentally from the coaching staff, truthfully, it really is up to the coaching staff. As I said, and I think we've talked about, the Beeline recruits of shooting are officially gone with Eli Brooks out the door. So historically, a top 5, maybe top 3, maybe best of all time shooting coach in the history of college basketball. Every place he went, Beeline recruits know how to shoot the basketball. So we are officially in the Juwan Howard world. So can they coach shooting? Based upon last year, I would say that they are not there. But my hope is, I know Isaiah Barnes, definitely have hope for him, but the shooter of the class was Will Shutter. He was a guy that played in Minnesota. His team got shellacked by the #1 recruit last year in Gonzaga. Gumby. Maybe the #1 player in the draft. I think he's going to be injured because he looks like he should. If a door opens and wind comes, he might fall over. He's more athletic than that. He just looks very, very thin. But anyway, I think Will Shutter, I'm hopeful that he's able to just take the next step, because I think that's what they need. They're going to have athletes. Dickinson's going to be great. I think Llewellyn's going to be helpful. But you can't put something on someone who is just used to Ivy League. I mean, by the time Big Stones Jones came around,
I don't think you can expect that in the fall, but I think the last 2 years, I think Mike Smith, who was also coming from the Ivy League, by the time we got to the tournament was exactly where we needed him to be.
I agree, but you can't wait that long to develop this year because we don't have Eli Brooks.
Well, and also fair. Like we barely made the tournament as a result of all that.
That's fair.
Slow November.
That's my worry, is they have to shoot the ball. Someone has to be able to shoot the ball this year, and I don't know who we have. So hopefully Cheddar has to see the court for me.
Cheddar
time.
I would say for football, the question I was just going to ask you guys a question. Who's the player you're most looking forward to seeing on Michigan football this next year? Who do you think is going to make the leap that you're like, okay, they're ready? You mentioned Morris, but is that who you're most looking forward to? Yourself as well.
I will tell you, Andrell Anthony.
Anthony.
I think stretch the field.
Braylon vibes, I think.
I like just go like I'm just seeing him jumping over green and white in October and just catching a couple balls again. Because he did do that.
Right.
But he's gonna do more of that more consistently. But that I want to see a big play against Iowa on the road, get his confidence up, maybe 10 touchdowns.
Okay.
Maybe 10 touchdowns, which I'd love to see, whether it's Cade or the JJ throwing it to him. Doesn't matter.
I like it.
I think
I need a sip of Zeeb after that.
Get yourself some Zeeb. I think there's so many, right? I think you can't go wrong. Donovan Edwards is the kind of player who could, if he's used properly, can just do everything, right? Like I think last year, that first touchdown against Ohio State, which again, I don't know if a lot of people know this, Michigan beat Ohio State last year. The fake reverse, because he had his coming out party against Maryland, which is always, is that fool's gold, right? It's Maryland,
Right.
They had that fake reverse to him that Ohio State's entire defense shifted to him.
Yeah.
And then they did the end around to AJ Henning to score that first touchdown. Like that to me is what I envision for next year of Donovan Edwards is a guy that everyone has to pay attention to. And so who does that open up, right? What is Ronnie Bell going to do in the slot? Because Donovan Edwards is out on that field. What is AJ Henning going to be able to do? What is Andre Anthony going to be able to do? Cornelius Johnson. So like you start talking about that Michigan offense, which is inherently as a Michigan fan, what worries me, right? Because we're like, oh, we're so excited about what this offense can do. So how are they going to disappoint us? But I think Edwards is definitely a kid that is going to be a big playmaker.
And there are rumors that he has the best hands on the team too.
Oh, that one-handed grab against Ohio State was, even though it was only like a 5-yard pass or whatever, like that was an amazing play. Oh, and he is obviously a great passer because he threw a touchdown against Iowa.
On the ball.
We were there.
On the dot. Yeah.
We were there for that. It was
Well,
quite good.
and he
How
took
about for you, Nate?
Yeah, for me, I would say this. For me, the sexy pick is on the offense, right? We're all
obviously
the pressure is on there, but who has to be good to stay in games? I mean, if we're going to beat Ohio State, because it's going to come down to those games with our schedule, that's what it's going to be. We have to control the line of scrimmage again.
Control it.
So I think 3 areas on defense that I'm really looking forward to. The heart of the defense. Mozzie Smith he really took a step last year.
He was amazing.
I think genetically and also athletically, Chris Jenkins with another year in the weight room is going to be massive on the 3 tech. So that if you control and push the pocket,
3 technique.
it's going to 3 technique. Sure.
A little inside baseball.
On the guards, on the inside baseball. As a lineman, obviously that's where I'd look. But I think that's going to free up athletic linebackers like Hill Green, as well as I think Junior Colson's going to take another step. Because that's what you have to do in the Big Ten. You have to sustain that line of scrimmage. You're going to go against some bruisers. You have to like hold the line. But against teams like Ohio State, if you push the pocket, Stroud, we saw, hates pressure. And if we can get to him, I think that's going to be big. So I think Mozzie Smith is going to continue to be great. I think he's going to work his way into a day 1 or day 2 draft pick next year.
Day 1, day 2.
And I also think that Chris Jenkins is going to take another step with bulking up. So I don't know. That's where my hope is.
Hopefully Rayshon Benny as well.
Rayshon Benny, yeah, I think he could. I think there's players that there's depth. I also think with Elston coming in, Notre Dame was annoying on the line of scrimmage on defense.
Oh,
if you remember the years against them, they were frustratingly annoying.
Thought they were great.
They were consistent, and that's what I think is going to be helpful.
And it was like platoon all the time. Like there was bringing new guys, fresh legs in, guys that were serviceable.
Mike Elston, we hired away from Notre Dame. He was the defensive line coach there for 10 years. We hired him this past year. He's a Michigan grad.
I think another
going to be helpful
improvement with him and the new defensive coordinator Minter coming in is that I think the one knock on McDonald last year, which was ultimately I think what lost us the Michigan State game, is that the NFL substitutions are different. Right. And so he wasn't used to the way the college substitution.
That was the Michigan State loss.
Right. That's
that was the only reason.
Yeah. To me. And so I think them understanding how college works a little bit better, which again, all hail.
All hail.
Mike McDonald. Love you. Oh, I hate so much that you're back with Baltimore and going to be playing against my Bengals all year because he's great. I think he's amazing. So,
Well, that's all we have on the 6-minute drill today on our Michigan Minute or 30. Thanks for staying tuned.